Hi, everybody. I'm Sandra. I discovered Katya also through a Facebook ad, I think towards the end of last year. And I'd had a couple of events happen in my life where it created a lot of extra space. So I had a car accident. I wasn't able to work anymore at that time. And then my mom passed away. So there were these things happening for me where I was grieving and I was in pain and so I think somewhere in my mind was turned to what about taking on some creative project? And once I started, it so changed things for me. It opened things up and I really feel like the accident happened so that I could slow down and examine my life and see what was happening that wasn't working. I was working two jobs. I was not having a lot of passion or purpose. So once my life gave me that break, I was able to really re-examine what I've been reading cards for several years. And before that, I was a reflexologist. So I had clients that I was working on their feet, and they say that soul is the connection to the soul. So people started to share things with me, and I started to get visions for people. I already knew I was clairvoyant, and once I was done my reflexology career, I transitioned into giving the readings more as a full-time thing.
Yeah,
And it just occurred to me, how about I make my own deck? And then there you were. It's like divine timing.
I know. I always love to figure out how people find me. And I love that so many people came from Facebook ads. And because a lot of times people are afraid, what kind of, is it a right? Is it people who come through the Facebook will be aligned to your values, right? So I think this is the biggest concern, right? So when you get into the broader audience, but you just heard Lynn, you just heard Sandra, and they are totally our people, right? So and that's amazing. So tell me, how did you come up with the idea of the deck that you produced, printed, published, and deckable, and now you have in multiple retail stores too?
Yes,
So
and
tell us, yeah.
I
So
heard
tell
from
us.
one of the stores today, they sold out. They need more decks.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's a good
Yeah,
problem to have. That's
very
amazing.
exciting. Yes. So this is
Yes.
the place where I give readings about once a month. And yeah, the owner reached out and said, we need more decks. People love it and they're coming in for it. I decided to collaborate with a local artist. So Andrea Kimberly is the artist. She's also in Calgary. And I really loved her style of art. And I decided to reach out and ask. And she said, oh, I've been thinking about a deck. Absolutely, let's do it. So she allowed me access to her whole library of pieces. And I had a fortune cookie collection, which was just sitting in a little box. And it was my partner who said, why don't you do something with those? So it really just, I don't know, some kind of magic happened. And I reached out to her. She said, yes, absolutely. And within about 6 weeks, we had all 70 cards matched. So they have the art on one side and then the message on the other. I can show you here.
Let me just stop share screen so people can
Yes.
see. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so
So
people can
we've got
actually see.
the
Yeah,
sloth here. So it says,
amazing.
good things come to those who wait, to be patient. So she designed the side for me, and then I did the back side. So
Hmm.
the fortune as well as the description. I decided not to go with a guidebook for this deck because I feel like it's really just a beginner. You're just getting started and you don't need to have a lot of complication. So I just added a few descriptive kind of keywords. Taking life in the slow lane has many advantages. Being in a relaxed state conserves your energy. Trust in divine timing. Your rewards are already on their way.
I love it. I
So thank
love
you for
your
tuning.
deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have your deck undeckable, and I can't wait to order to print. I know that you finally have the link to do that. And I'm in Canada, which is wonderful now, so it's easier
Mhm.
to ship here.
Yes.
So yeah, but it's such a light-hearted and fun. Is
Yeah.
that how you actually, is this what you wanted to create? Something
Oh,
fun?
totally. Very playful. And yeah, absolutely. I think that people learn a lot when they're laughing, when they're enjoying themselves. The lessons, it doesn't always have to be sad and bringing up any trauma. For it can be just, here's your message. How do you interpret it? I've started to write a blog post for each card. So
Mhm.
that is once a week. And so when people get on my mailing list, they're able to get a card a week.
We talked about that actually in the membership, right? How can you build the list? How can you bring people on a journey with you? And that's how you're going to nurture people, right? So impressed with the ways that you run in your business because you're so strategic with that as well, but also you're having so much fun. I see your posts like you go into the stores, to the shop, to the retail, you take picture and you don't take yourself too serious or it's fun. I just love it. There is such a beautiful energy about that. So how many stores are you in right now?
Next week, I'll be delivering to the fifth store here in Calgary.
Amazing. One store already sold out.
Yeah.
So tell us what if people are wondering how can they get in the retail store? What's the secret?
Oh, I've really just been going by, contacting the owner, just inquiring, just saying, hey, I'm a local. I paired up with a local artist. They really like that. I had the cards actually made here in Calgary. So that's the box there. And so we've got, it was really important to me. We're also supporting a local charity. So 5% of my proceeds go to brown bagging for Calgary's kids, which I believe they make up to 8,000 lunches a week for kids here who otherwise.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And
And I
it's
love how you have the story behind it. You thought about proceeds. It's really important to you that you print in locally. Yes,
yes.
it's a little bit more expensive when you print in locally, but then you are figuring out, okay, if I'm printing locally, I have my tag box, maybe not the tin box, maybe not the fancy magnetic box.
Mhm.
I also will have cards only. I'm not going to have a guidebook. So you still can lower the cost and really do it according to your values. What's really, like you said, what was really important to you to do it locally, to support the local community, to support the local printer, to support the local stores, to support the local charities as well, right? Love it. Yeah. Okay. So what do? You just knock on the door and say, I have this thing, and will you carry it?
I do have some connections and some friends. Like Andrew's work, for example, was already being displayed in a cafe. And so when I approached the owner, she was already familiar with her, and they have a little store within the cafe. And I asked if I could give readings there. And so I'm going to be starting that next month, twice a month. Yeah, I think just putting yourself out there. I'm quite a friendly and outgoing person. You know, I offered to give the barista a little reading while I was there, and now he's my biggest supporter. He's, oh, I'm going to tell everybody about your deck, and it's so great, and it resonated with me. And yeah, so it's just being authentically me, and like you said, I think you can tell I'm having fun with it. And
I can tell. Every post I see of yours, you are having fun. And another thing is
using
what
this deck with my own readings too. You know, I use a whole bunch of different decks, but it's so nice to have mine there to use as well. So I did that at a market last week, and the woman I was reading for, the last one, she ended up buying a deck as well because she liked it so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And I love that you are putting yourself out there in so many different ways, right? So, as an entrepreneur, it's like a lot of people think, okay, I'm only selling it online. But Sandra is a perfect example of how you can combine it. She's building her list, so she has ways to do that. She's creating experience for her clients, right? So, one card a week. She's sending them emails with a card and writing blog posts about that, so she's also utilizing the online website with a CEO, and now she's bringing more people to her website, right? And she's now doing it old-fashioned way, right? So in real life, going and knocking on the doors of the stores and talking to the owners, right? And telling her story. One of the most important things is she's telling her story. This is why, and she's being authentic. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, it's so
I'm going to be
fantastic.
on a podcast next week, so
Yes,
that's another way to get your message out and to share what you're doing, and you
yeah,
never know who's going to listen to the podcast. And
yeah, exactly. It's a perfect example of the when you build something, you actually need to get out there, right? So if you build something, they won't come unless you get super visible and tell everyone about that. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're
Mhm.
telling everyone about your deck. And so this way, this is how you become invisible, right? So, and people tell now, like you have supporters
Mhm.
and they will spread the word and it's like a ripple effect, right? So absolutely incredible. So when you joined, did you envision this outcome?
When I joined, I think I was still really deep in my recovery process and grieving, so it wasn't really something I had space for to think down the road that long. No, so I was just really happy to find the group and the way that you taught and shared and learning and having that the portal with all of the information in there. It was like I could work at my own pace. I didn't feel any pressure, and I think that's one of the biggest lessons this past year is that we don't need to be producing all the time. It's really important to have the rest and to have a sense of balance in your life where you're not all one thing or another. There's ebbs and flows, and some days you have more energy and more creative energy, and some days you don't, and it's okay. You can't judge yourself for that. So I
That's
think
a,
finding
yeah,
the community that was so big and the way that everybody in there supports each other. It's not just it's you, but also just the people that you're attracting are this frequency, and it's just it's so beautiful. It's so loving and accepting. And yeah, you can ask questions a couple of times, or I've seen so many members help each other on different things, and it's heartwarming to see that. I love it.
yeah. And I think it started even like when in January, when people came to the Fortune Teller Adventures, and you can see even in this community, in this one to like in this adventure, you can see everyone is helping each other and
Mm.
everyone is cheering each other on. And it's not only people from Oracle Cards Magic. So it's telling you when you have that intention, so when you have that intention, who you attract in, and you focusing on that, like you
Mhm.
said, you will start attracting people on your same frequency with same values and with same things that is important to you will be important to them. So love it. Absolutely love it. Yes. If somebody is on a fence, what would you tell them?
Oh, it's absolutely worth it to, like Lynn was saying, it's not just to, there's just so many facets to it. You bring in so many experts. All of the videos are really easy to follow. I was able to make that shuffle template, which was very exciting. No, it's so worth it. There's just a lot of value and community. And I think when you're starting out, I had no idea about printing or marketing and the mindset pieces. They're so important. I couldn't be where I am without having battled or dealt with that. What's that word where you're doubting yourself and you're an imposter, right? That imposter syndrome needs to go if you want to be successful. I think you really help people through that piece. And what's
Yeah.
holding you back, right? You reframe the question, what's holding you back?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad that we're talking about the mindset. I'm certified mindset coach. I think you heard me already saying that, right? But and mindset is absolutely important to me. And a lot of times people come in the community and they say, okay, where do I start? How do I start designing? And I always will tell them, well, you start in the mindset,
Mhm.
right? So the reason is because if you start in the mindset module, and it's a very short videos, I think the longest maybe 12 minutes, and when you start there, you will set yourself for success. You'll set yourself for success. And not only that, we always say if you feel stuck, there is a three things I always recommend. Number one, go back to mindset, right? So go see and maybe watch specific videos that you think will apply to you. Number two, ask questions. Come for calls if you can. If not, just ask questions in community. We're always there. I'm there, Nadia is there, and community is there, right? And number three, play. Playtime. Go in community, type in playtime, and you'll get massive amount of different play dates that were sorry play date, and you will find massive amount of play dates, and you can just play and bring this creativity into your life. Thank you so much. If there is anything else you want to add, let us know.
I'm looking forward to my next deck.
Yes.
I've already got
What is
all
it
the
going
back.
to be? What is it going to be? Do
It's
you
an
know?
affirmation deck, and I believe if you already follow me on Facebook, but back around my birthday, I wrote 50 ways back to me. So every day for 50 days, I had a topic, and I just downloaded all of those in my on my drive home one day. It just came to me. So got home, and I wrote my Excel spreadsheet with all of the card names. And right now, yeah, all the backs are finished, so I'm just working on the fronts. And very exciting. So 50 ways that I've found in my life that are really useful to fill my cup, for lack of a better word.
Love it.
So
Love it. And yes, I've seen all of those 50 days back to you. I loved it. I absolutely love it.
yeah.
And I also wanted to say that I'm so grateful to witness in your journey, right? So since you came in and where you are right now, I want you to really think about that all the progress. And that's always I want to think people about. It's not about the final outcome, it's a progress. Think where you started and think where you are right now. When we start thinking in a progress, one step at a time, that's why we have a 21 step process. But when you think about the progress one step at a time and celebrate it, most importantly, this is where you actually will start leaning into a lot of things in a confidence, in your great vibrations, right? And frequency, where you start attracting everything for you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Love having you in community. Love your deck. I can't wait to actually get physical deck as well because I play with undeckable all the time with your deck.